Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back. And if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. Last month I made a tumbler for a challenge and I did not record the process and I got a lot of questions on how I made it. So I decided to recreate another one and do this one in more of a tropical theme since summer is right around the corner. So I'm starting off with a 24-ounce travel tumbler that I got from the Tipsy Magnolia, and I went ahead and I cleaned it and prepped it and spray painted it white, and now I'm going in with my favorite white, which is Skin of a Killer from Chase Ray Creations, and I'm going to go ahead and get full coverage of that everywhere. And then before I go ahead and put it off and let it dry, I am going to just tap it down with my parchment paper. There is a couple of chunkier pieces on here. It's just a little bit, but I just want to make sure that it's easy for me when I go through the process of epoxying it. I let that dry for 4 hours, and now I'm going in with my glitter glue just to seal it, putting it off to the side for 4 hours. Now I'm going in with my first coat of epoxy. This is 20 mLs of my KS Resin liquidy split. Then I'm going to go ahead and let that go for about 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to go right back in with another 10 to 15 mLs of my fast set epoxy, and I'm going to go ahead and let that dry for 4 hours, and then we will start working on the peekaboo portion of the tumbler. I've been wanting to make a tropical tumbler. I have not made one yet this year, so I decided this would be my first one. So I just went on to Creative Fabrica and I just started looking for tropical leaves, tropical flowers, hibiscus, things like that, because I wanted to not only have some of the chunkier leaves to put on here so that you can see the white come through, but I also wanted to have some really pretty dainty flowers, and that's what I think really showed up on the other tumbler that I made. So this has got a variation of really thin, dainty, fine lines, and then also some chunky pieces, and the blend is what really makes this whole design come together. So I spared you guys watching me weed this out. It does take a long time to weed out these dainty little lines, and what I've gotten to the point is I will put this on and then some of the lines still need to be weeded out, but I like to wait until the really, really small pieces, I wait until I have it on the tumbler. So I'm just going to kind of show you how I clean this all up and then take off the last few pieces that I need to weed. I placed some of the chunkier leaves right next to these dainty pieces just so that could get some variation in it. And I'm going to be adding an outline over the chunkier leaves, so that's really going to add a lot more dimension to the tumbler. With this leaf, I decided that I wanted to add it to this dainty piece just to give it a little bit more of that chunky look. So I just took it and I trimmed out the stem on it because I'm going to blend it into the actual design. So I'm going to just kind of place it over where I want it to be and very carefully remove it. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm just going to trim out where it overlapped over some of the floral portion of that other piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that out, and then just like that, it looks as if it's a part of the original design. Because I went with a hibiscus design, I wanted to make sure I got a really pretty magenta pinky purple color. So I am going in with some of my Pinata alcohol inks. I'm doing the Senorita Magenta and the Calabaza Orange and the Sun Bright Yellow, all from Pinata. And then I'm also going to go in with Flamethrower, which is from Jen's Crafted Gems. And I got this sea sponge from the sponge docks in Florida a couple years ago, and I've just been sitting on it. So I decided that I wanted to cut it up, and this works beautifully for blending in these alcohol inks. So I'm just going to start the process of just laying down these inks. No rhyme or reason other than the fact that I really wanted the magenta to be on the hibiscus part of it. And I originally wanted to do a green alcohol ink in the leaves. And I did put some of the green on here. I'm going to show that in just a second here. But it just didn't blend well, and it was starting to get that muddy brown look because of the oranges and the pinks and then the green. So I'm going to show you how I put it on there, but I'm also going to blend it out. I just didn't like the way that it looked. And really all I do is I just start to just lay down colors and then start bringing the colors overlapping over each other and just slowly start to blend it all in. I do, in the little tray that I have, I just got some 91% alcohol so that when I really want it to blend together well, I will go ahead and put some alcohol ink on there, and then I will just tap that down, and then I'll blow on it, and it just kind of blends it together really nicely. So here's where I'm doing the green, and originally that I liked it, but then as I started to blend it, it just didn't work for where my head was at with this. It's really pretty now that I look back on it, but with what my vision was, it just wasn't jiving with it. So I'm just going to slowly start to blend that out, and I'm still in the process of just covering up all of the white and taking my time. And then I'm going to also show you a little trick with spraying some alcohol inks on there to really get the blend to go together well. One thing that I noticed that I wasn't planning for was I started to get a real dark shade of red, and that's not the look that I was going for. So here I'm just taking a clean sponge and I'm just dipping it in the alcohol and getting it nice and wet on the tumbler so that it fades out some of that color, because I really wasn't going for red. I wanted magentas and oranges and a little hint of yellow, and you know, you mix these colors together and you never know what you're going to get. But so I'm going to clean that up a little bit. And now here I'm taking a little bit more of the magenta and trying to, now that I've, you know, brought some of the color out, now I'm going to start building some of the color back in. And these are going to be colors that I want to have in there. I got these little 1-ounce water bottles from Amazon, and I filled it with 91% alcohol. And then what I like to do is I like to just spray it over the entire side of the tumbler. And then as I'm taking this little coffee filter and dabbing on it, I'm also blowing on it, and it just blends all of the colors together. It's like magic to watch it just transform while you're doing that. So I just like to do that a little bit, and then because of me being me, I'm going in with a little bit more magenta here, and I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. Now I'm going to start the process of removing it. I did use removable vinyl on here, so this does come off really easily. I probably should have wore gloves because my fingers did turn pink from the alcohol inks, but that's okay. So I'm just going to show you how I just remove one of them. Removing this is easy, but it is a bit time consuming. So I did not record all of it, but here you can kind of see me starting with the first floral design, and then I'll go ahead and just remove everything. And this is where you're going to truly see what the tumbler is going to look like. And now that I have that removed, I am just going to set it off to the side for a little bit and make sure it's completely dry. I do not seal it before I go in with my epoxy. I'm just going in with another 15 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for 4 hours, and then we'll start working on the detail work. So these leaves that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica also came with outlines, so I just matched the outline sizes to the original leaves that I cut out, and I'm just going in with some of my champagne textured vinyl that I got from Amazon, and I'm just going to go ahead and weed these out and very carefully weed out the inside of these. You definitely want to take your time with it. And here I'm kind of showing how I'm placing it onto the tumbler. I don't want it to match up perfectly. That is not what I'm going for. I want it slightly off. I am using some packing tape to lay down this vinyl. With the textured vinyl, it does work way better to have it remove with, or have it moved over to the tumbler with packing tape. So I'm just, because this is a curve, I'm just taking my time and laying this down very slowly so that I make sure that I don't get any lines or ripples in it or anything like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and peel this up, and I'm going to proceed to do that with all of the rest of the leaves that I am applying over these outlines. Did go in and put an SVG on there that said Tanned and Tipsy. I did make it myself. I used the font Salty Feathers from DaFont, and I did make an outline for it so that it would have also that white backing to it. And then I am going to go in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy and then let that dry for 4 hours, sanded it down, and then went in with another 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin, let that go for 8 to 10 hours, and here is the final product. It is so pretty. The blend just came out so beautifully, and it just pops with that white. I did do a glitter butt on this, but I did not record that. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.